This is my lifelong journey through my education of becoming a teacher. I knew I wanted to be a teacher after I started working with children as a school secretary for an elementary school 11 years ago. After graduating from high school, I took one college course before choosing to work full-time. Several years later, after getting married and having 2 children, I decided to return to school to obtain my teaching credential. I fell in love with teaching while working with children when I volunteered in my own children's classrooms when they were in elementary school. I attended the University of Phoenix for my undergrad program and decided to attend Azusa Pacific University by following the footsteps of coworkers who highly recommended the program to me. APU also provided small class sizes with a flexible schedule that worked around my work schedule and would also fit into my busy mom schedule. It wasn't until I began my teacher credential program at APU that I decided I wanted to also obtain a master's degree in education. Working at an elementary school, I could see how education was evolving in the use of technology more and more. Therefore, when I heard about the Digital Technology and Education Master's Program, I knew it would be a great opportunity for me. Attending Azusa Pacific University has changed my life spiritually and mentally. I am so lucky to have such a phenomenal university so close to my home. I have been blessed with some wonderful colleagues that I know will be lifelong friends. In addition to making some great friends, I have had some great teachers who have taught me many important things that will benefit me and help me teach our technological children of today and tomorrow. When I look back at all I had to do to obtain my teacher credential and master's degree, I feel a sense of great accomplishment. Although this journey has been challenging for me at times, with prayer and support from my colleagues and family, it has also been very rewarding. I have learned how to use so many programs that will enhance my lessons and make learning fun. As an educator, I have grown in so many ways. I now look at teaching children in an entirely different way. I always knew a teacher needed to be patient and understanding, but I never realized the many different ways students learn. When I learned about the different important people who have researched this, I found Howard Gardner's research about multiple intelligences to be the most influential information that changed the way I look at teaching children. It further taught me that understanding the way I learn also influences the way I teach my students to learn. I also instilled the importance of using strategies to implement Bloom's taxonomy in my lessons. Additionally, I was influenced by Erik Erikson's theory about developmental stages of children and understanding their needs at each level. When I look back at my teaching credential program, I remember talking about this research in every class I had. Additionally, in my graduate courses, I was influenced with technological resources that will definitely change the way I teach children and also make learning fun. In my EDUC 512 class, I learned how to use document tools in Adobe Acrobat Pro by highlighting, adding notes or comments to my documents, and how to combine several documents into one. I also learned some new tricks in Microsoft Word and Excel. In my EDUC 514 class, I learned how to create and edit educational videos by using VLC Media Player, iMovie, iDV, and GarageBand. I also learned the importance of the 9 rules of composition when taking pictures. In my EDUC 515 class, I learned how to create Google Docs and a classroom blog, and also how to publish educational podcasts using Audacity and Gene. I was also introduced to Skype, RSS feeds, Twitter, and Dropbox. In my EDUC 522 class, I learned how to take multiple intelligences to a whole new level by creating a thematic unit plan that incorporated the use of technology and multiple intelligences. All of these technological resources will become invaluable to me in my own classroom. I also know what I have learned about multiple intelligences will transform the way I teach my digital native students. When I first started my master's program, I thought I was a proficient technology user somewhere in between a digital immigrant and digital native. But what I realized is even though I knew how to use Microsoft Office programs, I didn't realize how I could use them to teach children. I also didn't realize how I can use so many other different technology programs. All of my master's classes have really opened up my eyes to new innovative ways of how to implement these tools in the classroom. I also now can confidently say I am a proficient user of technology programs. Something I still need to work on in my personal life is my finances. Therefore, because I don't have a class to research about, I chose to do my action research project on my finances. I wanted to find ways to better budget my money. One of the things I have spent a lot of money on is food. While I was attending school, I often ate dinner at the dining hall at APU or at a fast food restaurant in the area. It was always easier to just grab dinner at school than to make something at home. Well, for those of you who eat at the dining hall at APU know food can get pretty expensive there. During my research, I found that I was spending approximately $20 a week on eating out. Another place I was spending a lot of money at is also my favorite coffee house. Yep, you guessed it, Starbucks. I was spending at least $4 every week there. I decided to buy Starbucks at the market and make it at home. Man, has that saved me some money. And well, if you are watching this video, then you know I'm just about done with school, so it should keep me from spending $20 a week on eating out. I will now be able to make dinner at home instead. I was also able to make a budget. I also looked over my finances and I now have a weekly spending limit. I'm also able to put a little away in my savings each month so I can save for my future. I still go out to eat from time to time, but I always stay within my budget. Let's move on to my portfolio. I focused my unit on first grade life science. My unit will teach students how to take care of plants in their own environment and compare plant needs to animal needs in different ecosystems. Students will also gain a better understanding of why plants and animals are important to our environment. Students will use technology and multiple intelligences that will enhance their learning experience. I will require all my students to be actively involved in learning throughout all the lessons, activities, and discussions. Students will use their different learning styles throughout these lessons. I will begin this unit by having my students watch a discovery education video about the needs of plants and animals.
Then, after about a week or so, compare the two plants.
The plant that got water looks alright. The plant that didn't get water
Additionally, students will grow vegetables in a school garden and measure their growth daily using Microsoft Excel. They will walk around their school campus and take pictures of plants, compare these plants, and then create an iMovie using PowerPoint slides and using their photos of plants. They will further research to compare these plants to plants that live in a rainforest using predetermined websites. I will also be reading and referring to our science curriculum and literature books that go along with the unit. The books have great illustrations and information that provide students with the parts of plants, the life of a seed, and how to take care of plants. Students will use their knowledge of what they have learned to write out the steps of the life of a plant and then produce a podcast. I will also bring in real vegetables and fruits to explain parts of plants that we can eat and have the students help me sort them by the roots, seeds, stems, and leaves. We will then try a taste of each one. We will also discuss their similarities and differences. Additionally, students will go on a virtual field trip to a wheat farm to see how farmers harvest wheat and learn what kind of food wheat is used in. They will further understand how wheat is grown on a farm, transported to a factory, and then processed and prepared for delivery to our markets. After learning about wheat, students will be placed in groups to make wheat pizza dough by learning how to measure the proper ingredients and then make choices for their own design pizza toppings. Students will also create a Wordle, paint a flower using Shepherd software, and create pictures of the steps of growing plants in kid pits. Students will be informally assessed while I'm checking for their understanding during all of these lessons. Students will also be assessed through formative assessments, one on e-review on the Macmillan website, and an end-of-chapter test. Students will also be evaluated using a rubric after creating their iMovie, Wordle, podcast, and after presenting their projects to the class. Students' written work will also be graded using my teacher-created rubrics. At the end of this unit, my students will be readily prepared to grow plants and take care of the environment they live in, but most importantly, they will be able to say they had fun learning about science. This is the end. I hope you have enjoyed learning about my journey and my unit.